going to introduce you to something very important today. It might sound a little bit boring, but it's seriously one of the most vital things you could learn. If you care about the spread of disinformation, which has led to a rise in fascist ideologies, we need to talk about programmatic advertising. But if we're going to talk about programmatic advertising, first, we have to talk about Google. Now, you probably know Google as the search engine that we all used before TikTok. But what if I told you that's not how they make most of their money? Google, well, technically its parent company Alphabet, makes 80% of its revenue from Google Ads. In 2020, Google generated more than $147 billion from their ad business. To put that in context, the entire global digital ad industry was valued at about $600 billion this year. So Google owns a massive piece of this pie. Now remember Google's $147 billion and set it aside for a minute. Let's talk about disinformation. When you visit disinfo sites like Human Events, The Post-Millennial, and Breitbart, what do you see? Ads. That's because most websites make their money from ads. If it weren't for the ads on these sites, a lot of these awful websites basically wouldn't have a business model, and I'm not totally convinced they would exist. Like, that's why the mainstream journalism industry is struggling so much these days. Because of ads. And in part because there's this whole other brand safety industry within the ad industry. Telling brands their customers don't want to see their ads next to articles associated with things that make them feel bad, like abortion or war. So as you can imagine, that has a negative impact on the journalism we need the most, especially when brands block their ads from appearing next to articles about vulnerable communities, like blocking keywords having to do with LGBTQ communities or ethnic groups. And if those articles can't make money, newsroom corporate overlords stop publishing them. And you might be asking, well, Rachel, if advertisers can block their ads from mainstream news content because they don't like what it's about, can't they do the same with disinformation sites? You would think. But this is where you need to understand that at least 84% of all digital ads are bought through something called programmatic advertising. So what does Google have to do with programmatic advertising? If you want to know, hit like and follow. I'll give you nerds a part 2.